I've been coming in with the Monday motivational message, and that was quite easy being over in Maui and everything for a couple of weeks, but coming back to reality and life. And I just just had a message on my heart to share today to anybody feeling anxious, overwhelmed, maybe unmotivated, maybe underqualified for what you're feeling called to right now, scared and fear. Man, we all feel that way. Even myself, a lot of times have to battle through those emotions and feelings. And I really believe, for me, it comes down to three things that help me spiral back out of that when I get into a funk, or kind of just life feels like it's throwing you just storm after storm. And well, one of the things, it's actually not one of three tips I was going to share though, is as I work through life and have my coaches and just develop more depth and being that work in progress, giving yourself that grace, like it's okay to not always feel okay and motivated. I used to get so frustrated when I wasn't feeling motivated or inspired, because I love being in that state of creativity and productivity and serving and all those things I feel called to. But the reality is, like, we need the duality of the storms, of the valleys. And I always go back to, I love, like, you walk through the valley. You are not meant to stay in it. You're not pitching a tent and living in it. It's to walk through the valley. And then that mountaintop is so much more beautiful. You appreciate it so much more. So for me, and I share this because they're so important to me. There are three things that when I'm feeling kind of like I'm spiraling into these emotions and just states that I don't love being in, usually overwhelm and anxiousness are the two for me, and just lack of motivation or focus. More important than ever is like faith. I lean into my faith, like, okay, there's a reason for this, God. What are you leading me to? What are you showing me? Like, how do I get quieter and listen to your guidance? And it comes for me a lot more prayer time, a lot more journaling, a lot more getting out in nature and like hearing, having that connection. That is huge. So having more and more faith and drowning out so much of that outside noise. I just led a Let Your Light Shine program, and that was a big part of it, is like, how do you quiet your space so that your mind isn't going crazy? You're not being put in with all this outside stuff. Like, I don't watch the news. I try to limit as much outside stress as I can, but life can be freaking hard sometimes. And so for me, faith is just it's always important to me, always. But when I'm in a place where I'm not at my best or feeling at the top, like, leaning into faith and that quiet time and those prayers and listening is so, so important. The next one's foundations, and that is the things that make you feel good. Like, we call them the 8 pillars of health at VFit, but exercise, getting outside, being active, drinking water, still eating. I tend to, when I'm overwhelmed or anxious, like, I forget that I need to eat. And so just making sure your foundations, even if you don't feel like doing them, you're still doing them. You're taking care of your mind, body, and spirit. Those foundations are so important. Gratitude goes in there. Like I said, sleep, water, hydration, exercise, self-care, all of that, making solid foundations in your day. And then the last one is fellowship, having other people. This has been a big theme the last couple of weeks, especially just with some things going on with people really close to me, is like, we walk through the hard together too. We walk through the good, like having those communities and those friends and those people that you are there for each other through it all, having coaches, having a strong church that you're connected to, strong friendships, relationships, marriage. Like, you have to have that fellowship. We are not meant to be at things alone. And when we tend to be in a tough place, we can isolate ourselves, which is really what we don't want to do, because then we just get in our head, and that gets a little bit scary and crazy sometimes. At least mine does. So that fellowship with others, having your people to go to help lift you up, to help push you through, to cry with, to do the ugly stuff with, the hard stuff with, that fellowship is really important. So always important, but even more so when you're not at the top, is that faith, foundations, and fellowship. So I just leave you with this message today. Hopefully someone else needed to hear it. And again, we're not meant to pitch a tent and live in the valleys. We walk through them, and it gives us that perspective from those mountaintops, and just that depth of life. We're all a work in progress, and it's a beautiful journey, and it challenges us and everything. But at the end of the day, you're here on purpose. I firmly believe that. All right, bye, friends.